That night I thought I was being the perfect wife, rushing my husband's forgotten wallet to the airport at 12 a.m. like some fairy tale heroine. I stepped into the rideshare, hijab pinned tight, heart proud, clutching that leather wallet like it was the key to his happiness. The second I closed the door, every lock snapped shut with a sound that froze my blood. The driver didn't look back. His voice came low, shaking. "Whatever you do, sister, do not get out when we stop. Trust me with your life." I laughed at first, nervous, stupid laugh. Then I saw his eyes in the rearview mirror, pure terror. "Why?" I whispered. He swallowed hard. "In exactly 5 minutes, you'll thank Allah you listened." 5 minutes. My whole world was about to explode in 5 minutes, and I didn't even know it yet. Before the story tears you apart, do me one quick favor. Hit that like button right now, subscribe with bell on, and drop your city in the comments so I know where my family is watching from. Let's grow this together, because what you're about to hear will make your soul shake. The clock in our mansion read 12:17 a.m., dead silent except for my own heartbeat drumming in my ears. I had just finished straightening Draymond's desk. He'd left it looking like a hurricane passed through, papers everywhere, all because of this emergency work trip up north. He'd kissed me goodbye barely an hour ago, rushing out the door, saying the new branch needed him on the first flight out at 2 a.m. 3 years of marriage and he was still the perfect husband. Flowers for no reason, sweet texts during the day, always calling me my queen. I trusted him with every cell in my body. While switching off the office light, something black peeked from under a stack of files. My stomach dropped before my brain caught up. His wallet. Thick, expensive leather, the one I gifted him on our first anniversary. I opened it with shaking fingers. ID, platinum cards, rolls of hundreds, everything inside. Without that wallet, he couldn't even check in. Images flooded me. Draymond stranded at security, angry, embarrassed, maybe missing the flight because of one careless moment. I grabbed my phone and called, no answer, again and again. Straight to voicemail. Panic clawed my chest. It was 12:20. 40 minutes to the airport if traffic was kind. I can't drive at night, glare blindness from headlights, but I couldn't leave him like that. I opened the rideshare app with trembling thumbs, booked the closest car, and whispered dua after dua. 5 minutes later, a black sedan pulled up outside our gated villa in Ikoyi. The driver's name flashed, Mr. Ade. I hurried out, coat buttoned to my throat against the harmattan chill, wallet pressed to my heart like a talisman. I slid into the back seat. Cold AC slapped my face. The driver was a tall man, maybe 50, graying temples, face carved from stone. He glanced once in the mirror, eyes sharp, unreadable, then pulled away without a word. No greeting, no radio, no "how are you, madam?" Nothing, just the low growl of the engine and Lagos night rushing past the windows. I kept texting Draymond. "Babe, I found your wallet. I'm coming to you now. Please call me." Delivered. No read receipt. I told myself his battery died or he was already in the terminal with phone on airplane mode. But something about the driver started eating at me. He kept checking the mirrors. Me, the road, behind us, left, right, like he was expecting ghosts. Every time our eyes met in the reflection, my skin crawled. I hugged my bag tighter, wallet inside like body armor. All those horror stories women share on WhatsApp groups started playing in my head. Girls drugged in Ubers, bodies found in bushes. Ya Allah, protect me. I recited Ayat al-Kursi under my breath until my tongue felt dry. The airport lights appeared in the distance, golden and promising. Relief flooded me. 1:03 a.m. Still time. I pictured Draymond's face when I handed him the wallet, surprised, grateful, pulling me into that big warm hug he always gave. I smiled despite everything. The car entered the departure zone, but instead of stopping at the bright main entrance full of porters and families, the driver kept going slower, until we reached the far end where the streetlights were broken and the shadows swallowed everything. The spot was deserted, just one massive concrete pillar and darkness thick enough to choke on. Goosebumps exploded across my arms. I reached for the door handle the second the car stopped, locked. I yanked harder, nothing, both doors dead, child lock. My breath came in short gasps. I banged the window. "Sir, please open, I need to go." No answer. He just sat there, knuckles white on the steering wheel, staring at the sidewalk like death itself was waiting there. I started crying, begging, offering money, phone, jewelry, anything. That's when he finally spoke, voice deep and deadly serious. "Zara, you are not getting out, not here, not now. In 5 minutes you will understand why I'm risking my life to keep you inside this car." How did he know my name? I didn't remember giving it. My whole body shook so hard I thought I'd break apart. I curled into the corner of the seat, sobbing silently, watching the dashboard clock tick. 1:04, 1:05, 1:06, each second stretched into forever. Then at exactly 1:08, hell arrived wearing blue and red lights. 3 police vans screamed in from every direction, surrounding us, blocking every escape. Spotlights blinded me. I screamed, thinking they came for the driver, thinking I was being rescued from a kidnapper. Officers jumped out with rifles raised, shouting commands. I ducked, covering my ears, waiting for bullets. But they ran past our car, boots thundering, straight to the exact spot the driver had been staring at, the patch of darkness right where my door would have opened. I peeked up just enough to see them tackle a man in a black hoodie, cap pulled low. He fought like a cornered animal, but they slammed him down, cuffed him, and something dropped from his pocket, a folding knife and a dripping handkerchief. The chemical smell hit even inside the car. Chloroform. My soul left my body. 5 more seconds and I would have stepped out straight into his arms. 5 seconds and I'd be gone forever. The driver, Mr. Adef, finally unlocked the doors with a soft click. An officer opened his door, greeted him by name, said target secured, good job. Like they were old friends. I sat frozen, staring at the man who just saved my life, tears streaming. Who are you? I managed to whisper. He turned, and for the first time his hard face softened. My name is Adeb Booker. 20 years ago, I was head of security for your father, Al-Haji Langston. Before he died, he made me swear on the Quran I would watch over you from the shadows. Tonight, someone paid good money to make sure you never left this airport alive. I couldn't breathe. Then he pointed up, 2nd floor of the terminal, behind the glass. I followed his finger and the world shattered into a million pieces. There stood Draymond, my husband, the man I called Habibi every night. Red-faced, fists clenched, staring down at the police lights like his entire future just burned. And wrapped around his arm, wearing a red dress tight as sin, was Nafisa, my best friend since university, the one I shared every secret with. They weren't rushing to catch a flight. They were watching to make sure I disappeared forever. In that moment, the sweet, trusting Zara died on the back seat of that car. Something colder, harder, and infinitely dangerous was born, and she was ready for war. The second my eyes locked on Draymond and Nafisa up there behind the glass, something inside me snapped like a dry bone. 3 years of I love you. 3 years of cooking his favorite jollof. 3 years of praying for him every fajr. 3 years of believing he was my answered dua. All of it turned to poison in my mouth. Adeb Booker started the car and pulled away from the chaos of red-blue lights. I didn't cry anymore. My tears had dried into salt that cut my cheeks. I just stared at the wallet in my lap like it was a loaded gun. Booker's voice came soft but firm. Open it again, Zara, slowly. My fingers moved on their own. ID, cards, cash, then a folded paper I hadn't seen before. I pulled it out. A one-way ticket to Dubai. 2 passengers, Draymond Langston and Nafisa Bello. Departure date, tomorrow morning. Behind the ticket, another document. Life insurance policy taken out on me 6 months ago. Payout 480 million naira. Sole beneficiary, my loving husband. My hands didn't even shake. I folded everything back neatly, slipped it into my bra like evidence, and looked at Booker. Take me home, I said. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. It sounded like someone who had already buried 2 people alive. The drive back to Ikoyi felt shorter, like the city itself was shrinking under the weight of what I now knew. Booker spoke only once. From this moment, you play the same naive Zara they think they married. One wrong look and they'll smell danger. We need time. I nodded. When we reached the gate, he killed the lights and dropped me 2 houses away so no camera or nosy gateman would catch the car. Before I stepped out, he pressed something tiny and cold into my palm, a spy microphone no bigger than a shirt button. Put it where he speaks freely every day. We start collecting tonight. I closed my fist around it and walked through my own front door like a stranger entering enemy territory. The house smelled of lavender and lies. I went straight to the bathroom, splashed freezing water on my face until the redness left my eyes, then stared at the mirror. Same hijab, same face, but the woman looking back had murder in her pupils and ice in her veins. I practiced smiling until it looked real again. Sweet, clueless Zara. Perfect. I decided the wallet had to be found in a place that made sense. Not too obvious, not too hidden. I slid it halfway under the sofa cushion where he always sat to remove his shoes, exactly where it could have slipped from his pocket when he was rushing out. Then I curled up on the same sofa, turned the TV volume low, opened a magazine upside down, and waited. 3:12 a.m. Keys rattled violently. The door flew open. Draymond stormed in, smelling of expensive perfume that definitely wasn't mine. Hair messy, tie loose, eyes wild like a man who just watched his jackpot disappear. He shouted my name. I let the magazine fall, rubbed my eyes, yawned theatrically. Habibi, I thought you were already in Abuja. Oscar-worthy confusion. He froze, stared at me like he was seeing a ghost, then forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Zara, I forgot my wallet on the way. Had to turn back. Traffic was mad, accident on 3rd Mainland. Lies poured out smooth as palm oil. I stood, walked to him, touched his arm gently. Alhamdulillah, you came back safe. Look, I pointed to the sofa. I just found it now, it was inside the cushion. His whole body went rigid. He dove for the wallet, opened it frantically, saw everything still there. Relief flooded his face, then confusion, then something darker. He hugged me hard, kissed my forehead. You're my angel, baby. Over his shoulder, I smelled her again. Nafisa's Tom Ford, sharp and sickening. I smiled into his shirt while planning his funeral. He said he was exhausted, went upstairs to shower. Perfect. I followed with a towel like the dutiful wife, heard the water running, then opened his favorite leather briefcase, the one he carried everywhere like a second skin. Inside the tiny zip pocket for coins, I pressed the microphone deep, sealed it, closed everything exactly how he left it. By the time he stepped out with just a towel around his waist, dripping water and fake affection, I was folding his pajamas with a loving smile. He kissed my forehead again, climbed into bed thinking he still owned me. I lay beside him wearing wireless earbuds connected to the app. He was snoring in 10 minutes. I was wide awake, waiting. At 5:47 a.m., the microphone caught rustling, then a click. A second phone, a burner, hidden inside the briefcase lining. My heart slammed against my ribs as I heard the tone dial. A woman picked up on the first ring. Nafisa. Her voice was pure panic. Did it work? Tell me she's gone. Draymond whispered back, voice shaking with rage. That useless hitman got nabbed right in front of her door. Police everywhere. Plan ruined. She started crying. He cursed, told her the loan sharks gave him only until tomorrow to pay $280 million or they start with his fingers. Then she said the sentence that turned my blood into fire. There's still the old warehouse in Apapa. Baba Langston's safe under Machine 7. Gold bars, title deeds, cash. Only Zara knows the real code. Get it out of her, Dre. Sweet-talk her, drug her, whatever. We're out of time. He agreed. Said he'd come home early with gifts and vitamins to start weakening me. I pulled the earbuds out, stared at the dark ceiling, and smiled for the first time since the airport. They wanted to play dirty? Fine. But this time I was writing the rules. By 6:30 a.m., I was in the kitchen making his coffee exactly how he liked it. 3 sugars, splash of milk, while texting Booker everything I heard. He replied instantly. Black sedan will be outside in 20 minutes. I slipped out wearing gym leggings and hijab, told the gateman I was going for morning walk. Booker picked me up 2 streets away. We went straight to the bank. I moved every kobo from the joint account into a new one only I could touch, then froze all supplementary cards. Next stop, Baba's old lawyer, Uncle Emeka. By 11 a.m., I had signed papers shielding the houses, lands, shares, everything. If I died, it would all go to orphanage foundations and mosque projects, not a kobo to my beloved husband. When we finished, Booker looked at me with proud eyes. Welcome to the war, Zara, Phase 1 complete. That afternoon, Draymond came home early carrying the biggest bouquet of roses I'd ever seen and a small pharmacy bag. He kissed my cheek, called me my heartbeat, handed me the bag. Imported vitamins, baby. You've been looking pale. I worry about you. I opened it in front of him, saw the bottle seal slightly crooked. That night at dinner, he watched me like a hawk while I pretended to swallow 1 capsule, palmed it, and later dissolved it in the toilet. Let him think I was getting weaker. Let him dig his own grave deeper. Because every move he made now was being recorded, every word, every plan, every panicked call to his mistress. And I was no longer the girl who trusted too easily. I was the storm they never saw coming. 3 days after Draymond started slipping those vitamins into my life, he was already cracking like cheap china. He expected me to be dizzy, vomiting, begging for bed rest like some weak victim. Instead, I woke up at dawn, did my Fajr prayer with extra focus, then hit the garden for yoga stretches that made my body feel alive and powerful. I cooked breakfast. Akara and Pap, his favorite, with a smile that could melt steel, kissed him goodbye at the door and waved as he drove off to his office, briefcase full of secrets now mine to own. But inside, I was watching him unravel. His eyes darted more, his smiles came forced, his phone buzzed nonstop with threats he thought I couldn't hear. The loan sharks were closing in, sending photos of knives and broken fingers to his burner. Perfect. Pressure makes snakes show their fangs. And I was ready to strike first. That morning, while he was in the shower, I called his office line from the kitchen, voice sweet as honey. Habibai, I've been thinking. You've been so stressed lately, and I feel bad for doubting you about that wallet. Let's celebrate tonight. I'll make that special suya dinner you love, just us. Oh, and I miss Nafisa so much. Should I invite her? We haven't had a girls' night in forever. Silence on the line. I could picture his face, panic flashing, then calculation. Having me and his mistress under one roof was risky as hell, but also the perfect chance to manipulate us both. Sure, baby, he finally said, voice too bright. Great idea, she'll love it. Click, trap set. He had no idea he just RSVP'd to his own execution. I spent the day preparing like a general before battle. Dusted off the finest china from Baba's collection, lit scented candles that smelled like jasmine and revenge, arranged the dining table with red roses from his own garden. Ironic, right? I wore a burgundy dress that hugged just enough to remind him what he was trying to destroy, hijab draped elegantly, makeup light but fierce. At 7:58 p.m., the doorbell rang. Draymond opened it for Nafisa, who strutted in wearing a tight black number that screamed, "Look at me, I'm the prize." She air-kissed my cheeks, perfume heavy, eyes cold behind the fake smile. "Zara, darling, you look amazing, missed you." I hugged her back, feeling her heartbeat race against mine. Snake in my arms. Dinner started smooth, suya skewers sizzling, laughter over old university stories, wine for them, juice for me. They kept shooting glances across the table, loaded with panic and lust. I pretended not to notice, refilling plates, asking innocent questions like, "How's your new job, Nafisa?" She stuttered about some fake promotion. Then midway through the meal, I set down my fork slowly, wiped my lips with the napkin, and leaned back. "You know, last night I had the strangest dream." Draymond paused mid-bite. "What about baby?" I smiled, eyes locking on his. There was this rich woman, happily married to a handsome man, best friends with her ride-or-die girl. But secretly, the husband and friend were plotting to kill her, for her money. The air turned thick. Nafisa's glass trembled. Draymond choked on his meat, coughing hard. I continued, voice soft but sharp. In the dream, he faked a work trip, left his wallet on purpose to lure her to the airport at midnight. A hitman was waiting with chloroform, but someone saved her. And get this, the vitamins he gave her after, poisoned. To make her weak, easy to control. Nafisa's fork clattered to the plate. Draymond's face went ghost white, sweat beading on his forehead. They stared at each other, terror raw. I laughed lightly. "Crazy, right? Good thing it was just a dream. My Dre would never, and Nafisa, you're like my sister." But my words hung like smoke, choking them. Then I dropped the bomb. That dream made me think about death. So today I visited Uncle Emeka, changed my will completely. Their eyes widened to saucers. If I die before 60 in any suspicious way, everything, houses, lands, company safe contents, goes straight to orphanages and cancer charities. Not 1 naira to family. Dre, you're successful, you don't need my inheritance, right? Silence so heavy it crushed the room. Draymond stammered, "B-baby, that's extreme. What about our future?" I cut him off sweetly. "This is for my spiritual future, Habibai." Nafisa looked like she'd vomit. All their plans, murder, theft, escape, gone in one dinner. They'd get nothing but jail if I died now. I finished my food calmly while they pushed theirs around, faces crumbling. What they didn't know, hidden in the candle holder was a tiny camera booker planted, recording every panicked glance, every choked cough, evidence stacking like bricks around their graves. That night after they left, Nafisa hugging me goodbye with death in her eyes, Draymond kissing me with lips that tasted like fear. I knew they'd run to her apartment to lick their wounds. And they did. The microphone in Draymond's briefcase caught everything as he stormed in there at 10:45 p.m. "That bitch knows. How the hell does she know?" Nafisa hissed back. "You idiot, you let her change the will. We're finished." They screamed, blamed each other, her throwing glasses, him punching walls. But desperation breeds stupidity. By midnight, Draymond hatched a new plan, fake home invasion. Hire thugs to break in, tie me up, beat me until I signed over everything, revoke the will, grant powers of attorney. "She'll break," he snarled. "We'll make her beg to give us the money." Nafisa laughed cruelly. Yes, then we disappear to Dubai with it all. I listened from my bed, earbuds in, smiling into the dark. Let them come. I was ready. Next morning, Draymond texted. Urgent audit at work, staying late tonight. Love you. Lie, he was meeting the thugs. Booker and I spent the day fortifying. Hidden cameras in every room linked to a live stream app only I controlled. Panic button to alert police and my lawyer. By evening, the house looked normal, lights off early, car and garage, me asleep upstairs. But I was in a hotel across town with Booker, watching the feed on my laptop. At 9:17 p.m., the gate creaked. 4 shadows slipped in, Draymond, Nafisa, and 3 burly men with masks and crowbars. They picked the lock, crept inside like rats. First floor clear, then upstairs to the bedroom. Draymond kicked the door open, shouting, Zara, get up! Empty bed, immaculate. They searched frantically, closet, bathroom, under the bed. Nothing. Panic set in. Where is she? Nafisa whispered. Downstairs, Draymond kicked over a table in rage. That's when my laptop on the coffee table lit up. Incoming video call. Auto answer. My face appeared on screen, hijab perfect, expression ice cold. Looking for me, Habibi. They froze, staring at the screen. Draymond lunged forward. Where are you? Get home now, I smiled. Oh, and hello, Nafisa, and your new friends too, nice masks. Their eyes darted around, spotting the tiny cameras in corners. I pointed to the screen. See that red dot? Live streaming to my lawyer and police contacts. One tap and SWAT's here with warrants. Draymond went pale as death. Zara, baby, this is crazy. Come home, let's talk. I leaned closer. I know about the gambling, the debts, the hitman, the poison. I gave you a chance to stop. You chose violence. Nafisa started crying fake tears. We're sorry, please, I ignored her. But I'm not heartless. I know you need money fast. There's cash Baba left, gold, deeds, millions, not in the will, hidden in the old Apapa warehouse under machine 7. Code our wedding date backward. Draymond's eyes lit with greed. Really? Yes, take it and leave my life forever. They bought it hook, line, sinker. Slammed the laptop shut, piled into their van, sped off. Booker started our car. GPS tracker in his briefcase. Let's watch them bury themselves. The tracker dot on Booker's phone moved like a rat racing to cheese. Apapa Industrial Zone, 11:27 p.m. The roads empty except for broken streetlights and the smell of rust and sea salt. Draymond's van tore through the old fence of Baba's textile warehouse like it was paper, headlights cutting through decades of dust. Booker kept 200 meters back, lights off, engine silent. On my laptop, I watched their body cams, tiny cameras Booker had slipped into the dining room flowers earlier that week. 4 greedy souls about to open Pandora's box with my name on it. Inside the warehouse, moonlight leaked through broken windows. Nafisa's flashlight shook as they found machine number 7, huge, rusted, exactly where Baba left it 20 years ago. Draymond was already screaming at the thugs. Faster! Break the damn floor! Picks and crowbars sang against concrete. The sound echoed like gunshots in my headphones. Sweat poured down their faces. An hour of pure madness later, metal hit metal. They scraped away dirt and there it was, a heavy, safe, army green combination lock staring up like an eye. Nafisa was crying with excitement. Open it, Dre, we're rich! Draymond knelt, fingers trembling, dialing the wedding date backward code I fed him. Click, the lock surrendered. They yanked the lid open together, expecting gold bars to blind them. Instead, silence. Then confusion, then pure horror. Stacks of folders, photographs, bank statements, screenshots of his betting accounts showing debts of 310 million naira, hotel receipts with Nafisa's name, pictures of them kissing in the airport parking, time-stamped the exact night of the hitman, and on top, one white envelope in my handwriting, to my beloved husband and my soul sister, enjoy your treasure. Draymond ripped it open. Inside, a single sheet. The real gold is the evidence I just buried you with. Smile, you're on live camera. Police ETA, 3 minutes. Love, Zara. At that exact second, floodlights exploded through every broken window. A dozen police rifles painted red dots on their chests. Sirens howled. Armed police! On the ground now! The thugs dropped tools and hit the concrete, hands behind heads. Nafisa screamed and tried to run straight into a female officer who slammed her down like laundry. Draymond just stood there, mouth open, staring at the empty safe like it had swallowed his soul. Then he looked straight into the hidden camera I'd planted inside the safe months ago and whispered, Zara! As if my name could save him. It couldn't. Officers poured in, cuffing wrists, reading rights. One detective walked up to the safe, lifted the evidence bags I had neatly arranged, and gave the camera a small salute. Live feed counter on my screen. 127 viewers and climbing. My lawyer, the commissioner, selected journalists, even some of Draymond's business partners I quietly invited. Lagos was watching its golden couple fall in real time. The warehouse door creaked open one last time, high heels on concrete. I stepped into the light wearing a cream coat and white hijab, looking calmer than I'd ever felt in my life. Booker walked half a step behind, arms folded, proud father smile on his face. Draymond was on his knees now, face streaked with tears and dust. "Zara, please, Habibi, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. The gambling made me crazy. Nafisa forced me." Lies tumbling out like vomit. Nafisa thrashed against the officer holding her, mascara rivers down her cheeks. "He made me do it. I never wanted to hurt you." I stopped 2 meters away, looked down at both of them the way you look at cockroaches before you spray. My voice came out soft, but it cut the air like a brand new blade. "Draymond, do you remember the airport? You stood upstairs watching, waiting for a man to drag me away and kill me. I gave you mercy that night. I let you come home. I cooked for you. I smiled while you tried to poison me, and still you chose this." I turned to Nafisa. "And you, every shopping trip, every secret I told you, every time I cried on your shoulder about wanting a baby, you smiled and planned my funeral. Both of you are dead to me. The only difference is your bodies are still breathing." Draymond crawled forward, tried to grab my ankle. "I love you, Zara, please." I stepped back. An officer yanked him up by the cuffs. I pulled out my phone, turned the screen to them. Thousands of comments now scrolling. "Beast, animals, rot in jail, Allahu Akbar, sister, you're a queen." Half of Lagos had watched their downfall live. Their reputations were ashes before the court even opened. I looked at the detective. "Take them away." As they dragged Draymond past me, he was sobbing my name like a broken record. Nafisa was cursing me between hiccups. I didn't flinch. When the vans disappeared into the night, I finally breathed. Booker put a gentle hand on my shoulder. "It's finished, Zara." I shook my head. "No, it's just beginning." 6 months later, the trials were swift and brutal. Audio from the briefcase, warehouse footage, bank records, the poison analysis from the vitamin bottle, everything airtight. The judge called it one of the most cold-blooded conspiracies in Lagos history. Draymond got 28 years. Maximum security Kirakiri. Word is the lone sharks have friends inside. He doesn't sleep much anymore. Nafisa got 22, tears and fake repentance useless against the evidence. In the women's prison, they found out quick she betrayed her best friend for a man and money. She scrubs floors now for protection. Both of them aged 10 years in 6 months. Meanwhile, I rebuilt. New furniture, new paint, new energy in every room, no trace of him left. I took full control of Baba's company, fired the snakes he'd planted, tripled revenue in 4 months. Business magazines started calling me the Lioness of Lagos. I spoke at women's conferences wearing my hijab like a crown, never nomming them, just saying, "Sometimes the people closest to you hand you the knife. Learn to catch it by the blade and build a throne with the handle." And every night I prayed tahajjud, thanking Allah for those 5 minutes in the car, for a Deb Booker, for the strength I never knew I had. One morning I stood at the same airport, same concrete pillar where death once waited. This time I had a small suitcase and a heart lighter than air. Booker walked me to the international gate. Tickets in my hand, Umrah first, then Istanbul. Alone by choice for the first time, truly free. I hugged him tight. "You kept your promise to Baba. You gave me my life back." His eyes were wet. "No, Zara, you took it back yourself." I smiled, adjusted my sunglasses, and walked toward the gate. The board flashed, EK 782 to Dubai, then Jeddah, on time. Behind me, the past was handcuffed and buried. Ahead, only light. I whispered to myself as I crossed immigration. 5 minutes decided if I would live or die. Tonight I choose to live, so fiercely that even my shadow bows. Plane touched down in Jeddah at Fajr. As I stepped onto the tarmac, the cool desert air hit my face like the first breath after drowning. I made wudu in the airport mosque, stood in the women's section for the first time without a man's shadow over me, and cried through every rak'ah of tahajjud. Not from pain anymore, from gratitude. The 5 minutes that almost ended me had turned into the 5 minutes that began everything. Umrah was 48 hours of pure light. Tawaf around the Kaaba with tears streaming under my niqab, drinking Zamzam while making dua for every sister watching this story right now. standing on Arafa whispering Labik Allahumma Labik until my voice cracked. On the last night in Madina, I sat facing the Prophet's Letaref DFA mosque at 3 a.m., phone in hand, and opened the live stream one final time. Thousands of women flooded the chat. You gave us courage, Zara. I left my toxic husband because of you. My daughter wears hijab proudly now because of your strength. I turned the camera to the green dome glowing gold under the moon and whispered, this is what Allah does when they try to bury you alive. He makes you a garden instead. I ended the live with one sentence. Never forget, the same Allah who saved me in 5 minutes is watching over you right now. I switched the phone off and disappeared into sujud until sunrise. Back in Lagos 2 weeks later, the city felt different, like it had grown smaller while I grew taller. Paparazzi waited outside the airport, but I walked past them with sunglasses and a smile that said I owed nobody an explanation. Booker picked me up in the same black sedan that once saved my life. On the drive home, he handed me a thick envelope. Inside, the final divorce papers signed by Draymond from prison, stamped and sealed. He had begged the judge to let him sign anything if it meant I wouldn't testify again. I didn't even read it. I rolled the window down and let the papers fly out over Third Mainland Bridge like white birds finally set free. Booker laughed so hard tears came. You should have seen his face when the warden told him you went for Umrah alone and came back glowing. He cried like a baby. I smiled. Let him cry. Tears won't buy back the nights he planned my funeral. The company was booming. I rebranded it Langston and Daughters. Every product line now carried a charity code. 10% of every profit went straight to widows and orphans. Sales exploded. Women started posting selfies with our new hijab line captioned, wearing Zara's revenge and it feels so good. Investors who once laughed at a woman running things were now begging for meetings. I took none until they agreed to my terms. 50% women on every board, 0 tolerance for harassment, prayer rooms in every factory. Some walked away. More stayed and watched profits double. I was no longer the heiress. I was the woman who turned betrayal into an empire. But the best part came on a random Tuesday. I was in the office signing contracts when my assistant knocked, eyes wide. Madam, there's someone downstairs who says he knew your father. I went down curious. Standing in the lobby was an old man in a worn-out egbada, white beard, shaking like a leaf. When he saw me, he fell into sujud right on the marble floor, crying. Security moved to stop him, but I raised my hand. Let him. He looked up, voice breaking. I am the hitman they hired that night at the airport. After the police let me go on bail, I saw your Umrah live from my village. I have not slept since. I came to beg forgiveness before I die. The lobby went dead silent. Cameras from journalists who always camp outside started flashing. I knelt in front of him, lifted his face gently. Stand up, uncle. Allah is Al-Ghaffar. You are forgiven. Go home and live the rest of your life in peace. He wept louder, kissed my hands, left shouting, Allahu Akbar to everyone. That video went more viral than the arrest itself. Comments flooded. This is real power. She won without raising her voice. Zara is the definition of kill them with success and bury them with a smile. That night, Booker came to the house with a bottle of Chapman and a grin. One last surprise. He opened his tablet and played a prison visitation recording, legal of course. Draymond sat across from his mother, thin, eyes sunken, prison uniform hanging off him like a ghost. His mother was crying, asking why he destroyed everything. He stared at the table and said, voice dead, I wake up every day wishing that rideshare driver had been 5 minutes late. Just 5 minutes and I would have won. Booker paused the video. He still doesn't understand the game was never his to win. I raised my glass. To the 5 minutes that belonged to Allah alone. 1 year to the day after the warehouse, I launched the 5 Minutes Foundation. Every project named after a woman who survived domestic betrayal. Shelters, scholarships, self-defense classes, therapy, everything free. The launch gala was held in Eco Hotel Grand Ballroom. 500 women in hijabs and gowns that cost more than cars, all there because my story gave them permission to leave their own prisons. I wore emerald green, the color of new beginnings, and walked on stage to thunderous takbir. Mid-speech, my phone buzzed, private number. I almost ignored it, then something made me answer on speaker so the entire hall heard. A weak voice crackled. Zara, it's me. Draymond, from prison. The room froze. He was crying. I heard about the foundation. I just called to say I'm proud of you. And I'm sorry. Every day I'm sorry. silence so thick you could hear hearts breaking and healing at the same time. I looked out at 500 sisters waiting for my reaction. I smiled softly. Draymond, your apology is accepted, but my forgiveness is not for you. It's for me, so I can keep building while you keep sitting. Jazak Allah for calling, goodbye. I ended the call. The hall erupted, women on their feet screaming my name. That clip broke the Nigerian internet for weeks. Later that night, alone on my balcony watching the Atlantic, Booker joined me with 2 cups of masala tea. There's something I never told you, he said quietly. My heart skipped. He pulled out an old photograph, Baba, young, standing with a teenage boy, tall, same eyes as Booker. He wasn't just my boss. He was my father, different mothers. He kept it secret to protect me from his enemies. His dying wish wasn't only to watch over you. It was to give you the brother you never knew you had. I stared at the photo, then at Booker, then the tears came, different tears. We hugged like orphans finding family after the storm. From that night on, the company letterhead read Langston and siblings. Blood didn't matter. Loyalty did. And Nafisa, last I heard she tried to hang herself in prison. The rope broke. She's on suicide watch now, writing me letters every week begging for forgiveness. Sending them through her lawyer. I don't open them. Some graves are better left closed. 2 years after the warehouse, on the exact date and time the hitman was arrested, 1:08 a.m., I stood again at that same concrete pillar in Murtala Muhammad Airport. This time I wasn't running with a wallet. I was launching the new Zara Langston Terminal Wing, a private lounge for women traveling alone, safe, beautiful, free hijab-friendly prayer rooms, nursing areas, armed female security trained by Booker himself. The ribbon cutting was broadcast live across Africa. I wore white, pure white, like the day I was reborn in that car. Booker stood beside me holding the golden scissors. Thousands watched online. When the ribbon fell, the crowd roared. Fireworks lit the sky. And in that moment, every sister watching knew, if Zara could turn 5 minutes from death into an empire of life, so could they. I flew out again that night, not to Umrah this time, to Paris, New York, Malaysia, speaking, building, lifting. My passport filled faster than my heart ever had. And every time I passed airport security, I paused for exactly 5 seconds, closed my eyes, and whispered, Alhamdulillah for the driver who locked the doors, for the police lights, for the strength Allah poured into a broken wife and made her unbreakable. Last month a letter reached the foundation, prison stamp, Draymond's handwriting. Just one line. I watched the terminal opening on the prison TV. You won, Zara, completely. I smiled, tore it into pieces, and let the wind take it. Because the truth is this, they planned my funeral, but Allah planned my resurrection. They wanted my wealth, but He gave me the world. They tried to make me a victim, but He made me a legend. So to every woman watching right now, hiding bruises, swallowing tears, believing the lies they tell you, listen close. Your 5 minutes is coming. The moment when the doors lock not to trap you, but to protect you. The moment when the lights flash not to scare you, but to expose them. The moment when you stop being the girl they betrayed and start being the woman they fear. I was Zara, the naive wife who almost died for love. Now I am Zara, the sister who lives for every one of you. If this story touched even one heart, do 3 things right now. Like this video, so it reaches every sister who needs it. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because more stories of survival are coming. And comment the city you're watching from, because I pray for every single one of you by name every night. Wallahi, you are stronger than they will ever understand. Your story isn't over. It's just getting to the best part. Thank you for walking this journey with me. See you in the next life-changing story. Allah bless you all.